Okay, a video, Ottomans versus Order of the Dragon, and I'm pretty pleased with this one. I think I've got it down. Being the Ottomans, I think I've got being the Ottomans down to basically an absolute T. And I'll explain why as we go. So it's pretty self-explanatory to start with. However, I've started to only put 2 on gold early on because you don't need that many, and I'll show you what I mean. That house issue wasn't really affecting, if you see the speed of the villager creation, so there was no loss of time there, there's no waste of time there. Making sure you're using berries and not just sheep is very important. Obviously if you don't have berries it's going to be slightly harder, but in terms of, so I've already got 200 gold being what you need for the feudal age, and the scout comes in with some more sheep, and then just about to get, obviously you don't want to go too early such that you're wasting time with villager creation, and then you use 7 people I've used here to just be basically as quick as possible, whilst also still having enough food income. Got currently 7 still on food to create villagers and not slow down villager creation. Three on wood now. Already in, so that's 4 minutes in. Pretty quick. 4 minutes there. Well, I mean I'm not a pro, but that's pretty quick in my view. Already in feudal. Now, yeah, I'm now going back to basics and going to gold, right? 4 on wood, 4 on gold, and a couple more coming on gold, because gold is now quite important obviously, and then move on to stone. You see that switch just there? Immediately onto stone when you've got 5 on gold. Again, to remind, stone is incredibly important for the Ottomans because it allows you to build military schools, and so as soon as you're in feudal age you need to be getting on that stone. They are not yet in feudal age, and obviously if I was playing kind of pro players they probably would be, but still, there we are. They've now got into feudal age 6 minutes in, which is probably more kind of normal. I then have a bit of a slight mess up here when I go a bit too close, but the scout survives, so there's no harm done. I'm fairly quick then to do Anatolian hills, more sheep at the town centre, military schools as they come through. I'm now winning on income per minute because of being I'm not farming obviously, but being fairly prompt, minus forestry, which I do shortly, and then we're onto the next age already. Right, not wasting too many people on, not going crazy on wood early on, so I'm still rushing castle age. Incredibly important, as I say, to rush castle age with Ottomans. Getting a military school up at the same time, and in a minute building another few houses, because obviously you need to be aware of houses and never let it get to a point where the limited number of houses is slowing you down, because that's obviously a massive waste of time. 16 on this one, so I'm now already in, that's 8 minutes 49 seconds into castle age with the Ottomans, which is I think pretty quick. Again, perhaps not kind of pro speed, I don't know, but but pretty quick nonetheless. So now it's fine to, I would suggest basically double on food, whatever, but it's fine to get a few more on wood once you're in Castle Age and kind of allocate a bit more kind of efficiently. I don't know how quick I am to move these. Pretty quick, there we go. I don't know where I put them either actually. On wood, and then use that wood to get farms. I think that was the plan. Could build the lumber camp closer. I do that eventually, but I do take a little bit of time on that. So I'm already in Castle Age, and they haven't got the next landmark ready to go. They've got early gilded men-at-arms. I've got no troops. None whatsoever. I'm rushing completely. Going for it's a risk, it's 100% a risk. Going for military schools to get free units. If they were to, for example, English, this is really, I find it difficult to play against English because of the longbowmen coming at me so early and my inability to really defend usefully against them. Even the last game I had crossbowmen coming at me early, and that was Chinese crossbowmen coming at me early, and again I struggled. It's basically until you get the mangonels out from the siege, from the Imperial Armory. Again, free siege equipment from the Imperial Armory. That you can start to defend against massed archers early. Already like 11, 12, 13 minutes in, you're going to be struggling with Ottomans if you're getting a massed archer attack, which is normally what English try and do, right? So that's why it's very hard to, in my view, especially on those kind of really, there's a map now that puts you right next to the enemy, and every time I try and play that map, not every time, but it makes it so much harder to use a civilization that's difficult early game. I try and take out this scout, I nearly do it, not quite, and there we are, got a mangonel now. Allocation, you know, I'm imagining I'm putting more on, or I will put more on gold shortly. Allocation's not too bad. Again, I'd suggest almost double on food. Putting another military school up, good. We've now got a couple of gold mines over here. And partly the idea is, if I'm putting a gold mine here and not actually using it, that's useful for me because it allows me line of sight such that if they're coming through, I can see, and you know, if they're cavalry I might well not be able to make it back in time. Being, again, it's playing this playstyle is quite risky. If they were to, I imagine, if they were to push me now with all their units, see what units they have. Yeah, see, they're not playing aggressively. But if they were to play aggressively, they might have a chance. No, they wouldn't have a chance. I take that back. I think I'd probably defend myself against a push from this number of early men-at-arms. I think still I'd defend myself, just about. So we've got decent amount of income per minute now. Gold's doing well. Food needs to up its game a little bit. You know, I need to do a little bit better on food. What's the time? 14 minutes in. And I haven't quite yet swapped to man-at-arms training. Again. Oh! I have now. Man-at-arms training. I have. It's so crucial to be upgrading the you know, mill, mines, lumber camp, kind of as soon as you can, really. Get that econ working well and the kind of units follow, as it were. So they've now shown themselves. So I'm now very much aware of what they're kind of up to, which is dominating this territory. I'm presuming that they're going to come and attack, which is what really they probably should do. But the other thing to remember is the Order of the Dragon is also a late game civilization. It's very much also a late game civilization, such that they probably have a similar approach. Look, they're upgrading via the blacksmiths, various things, whilst I'm upgrading at the same time. So we're kind of matching each other. But because I've got into Castle Age already, and they're really behind, to be honest. They're not in Castle Age yet, and we're 15 minutes in. Again, I'm presuming that they're coming for an attack, not least if the enemy doesn't upgrade to Castle Age, because you kind of obviously see that, kind of comes up on your screen. Then I tend to assume that they're going for the attack because they've been using those resources to build units. But in this case, they don't seem to be. Which is an error on their part, I would suggest. They're doing well on food, I'll give them that. They're doing well on both food and wood compared to me. I destroy this lumber camp in order to leave more room for farms. So I'm sometimes a bit lazy, I admit, and I don't bother putting loads of mills around. I just put loads of farms around the town centres. I didn't bother double town centering there. Here we go. I've got the next age, and so normally quite often what I do is I bring villagers with me. But at this point, I thought it made more sense. Previously, I've put the Seagate Castle in kind of almost a third place to cover gold, but at this point I decided it would be more sensible to it's just reached Castle Age, and I'm just about to enter Imperial Age, 4th Age, such that they're really behind. And I think it was kind of all because of that 2 people on gold and then everyone else on food early game, and then making sure obviously that you're upgrading mining camp, lumber camp, mill as soon as possible. I do waste a bit of time here, look. I don't know what I'm doing. There is a bit of time wasted, I admit it. Create another military school and then probably put them onto wood, I imagine. Got a nice amount of gold coming in. So what I'm doing here, just to explain again, is basically a similar thing, is giving myself a bit of time, not using this necessarily as a defensive landmark, as an outpost to defend, but just to give me time if I see them coming to escape with my villagers intact. I don't normally bother with textiles, although I appreciate that that might be a good plan. So what the situation now is, as I understand it, Janissary upgrades coming through. already, right? 19 minutes in, Janissary upgrades coming through. That makes them incredibly strong. I think also man-at-arm upgrades coming through. Yep. I'd imagine I'm doing blacksmiths at the same time. They can see this force coming, but at the same time, kind of what can they do about it? Quite sure what the plan is here. They've just, I don't know why they've done this. Gilded men-at-arms, they're very powerful, these units. But again, let's have an actual look at this. I missed this actually first time. I completely missed that. Obviously not paying enough attention. Let's have a look at the difference. I'll do it in a second. Just see what's going on down there. It's just a scout. And then I send a little kind of community to go and check out this gold mine and this relic. I then notice what's going on down here. And reasonably, but obviously that's ridiculous. I should have protected the mangonel better. But let's just slow that down just to double check on the stats here. 290 health, 19 sword, blah blah blah, versus me, and I've got elite heavy infantry. Oh, sorry, elite man-at-arms. 180 health. That's still. He's gilded. They're gilded as well. So 290 versus 180 and 15 attack versus 19 attack. So in terms of their man-at-arms, they're significantly better. If it was just a straight man-at-arms fight, the outcome would be obvious, but it's very much more. So the man-at-arms are, and the veteran spearmen are doing the kind of almost just sponging up the damage, because they're still kind of more powerful than the Janissaries, sponging up the damage whilst the Janissaries do the real work. And they're elite Janissaries, so they are pretty good. This is one of the best, I think this is one of the best units in the game, the gilded man-at-arms from the Order of the Dragon, which is why I used to really like Order of the Dragon, because you could just kind of walk around the enemy's base and ignore all the arrows, which is always quite fun. But up against this army, even if it's kind of a similar size, I think presumably just because the Janissaries are able to kind of you know what I'm saying, bear their attack on a particular individual at the same time. I suppose archers can as well, but nevertheless the Janissaries are particularly strong, obviously. And in a minute, as I'm doing that, I've sent a few people. You know, I've done this pretty well, to be honest. I don't normally do it quite as well, I admit. I've sent a few people to attack villages, both here and here, and so they're in real trouble. They're in real trouble, and I think, yeah, very shortly they just give up. Done. Very good game.